Assalamualaikum.
Hello. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How's it going?
The word consciousness in everyday life.
That's a deep way to put it. I think water is one of those things we only actually. Wait, you can smell something right now? What does it smell like?
Where did the word conscious original come from?
Let me look into that. A word actually comes from Old French, where it meant to judge or decide something after thinking it over carefully. It's got these old Germanic roots related to watching or guarding, which is kind of a cool connection.
How has the meaning of change over time?
That's a huge question. I feel like change used to be something that happened slowly, like seasons or generations, but now it feels instant. With technology and how fast everything moves, we're
Why is important to remain like
it's a big one. I think for most people, it comes down to that feeling of having a safe harbor, knowing there are people who actually have your back no matter what. What do you think makes a family feel real or important to you?
what is the difference between being awake and being conscious?
Mm. I think being awake is just a physical state. Eyes are open.
How did ancient Polishia explain conscience?
I'm not quite following you. Did you mean something about how a polisher works, or were you talking about something else entirely? I'm still a bit lost. Could you try saying that another way?
How did Plato believe about our needs?
Let me check on that. I'm not seeing any famous players or stories about someone named Orange Smith. I found a jewelry manufacturer and a type of orange tree, but nothing that sounds like a person, a player, would have beliefs about. Are you thinking of a specific game or a different name?
How did Aristotle view the man?
I'm not sure. You didn't mention a specific man just now. Did. どういたしま。おやすみなさい。またね。
What role did conceptions play in real religion?
Let me look that up. Concept scenes are basically how our brains map out the world to figure out how to move. It's less about just seeing a room and more about action affordances, essentially your brain spotting a handle and knowing it's for pulling, or seeing a gap and knowing you can fit through it. It's this constant dynamic loop where your goals change what you notice in a scene, which then dictates how you actually move your body to get things done. Hey, just a heads up that our call is about to hit the time limit and will end in a minute. You can always call me back later, though.
How do when explain awareness?
Awareness is a tricky one to pin down, but I think of it as the difference between just reacting to the world and
What is self-awareness? What is self-awareness?
I think of it as the moment you stop just reacting to things and start noticing that you're the one doing the reacting. It's like stepping back from your own life and watching yourself move through it. Do you feel like you've always had that perspective, or if you are is it something you've had to practice?
Why do humans think about their event to
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by their events. Are you talking about milestones in their life or maybe just the things that happen to them day to day?
how does the brain create questions expression?
I'm a little lost on that one. Do you mean how brands come up with the questions they ask customers or something more about how they express their identity? Um,
Which part of the brain control our
you
awareness?
mean the brain. I'm still a bit confused. Which specific function or behavior were you asking about?
Can animals be conscious?
Yeah, that's a wild way to put it. If you mean created in a lab through things like cloning or genetic engineering, then yeah, that's already happening. But if you're asking if they can be born purely from a scientific concept without any biological origin, that's more of a sci-fi question. What made you think of that?
How do scientists study consciousness today?
I'm not quite following you. Are you asking how scientists study the sense of taste or maybe how the brain processes the need for certain flavors?
What is the hard problem of consciousness?
I'm guessing you're thinking of the hard problem of consciousness. Basically, it's the question of why and how physical processes in the brain give rise to subjective experience, like why the smell of a rose actually feels like something rather than just being a chemical signal. Is that what you were getting at, or are you thinking about a different kind of hard problem?
Why is consciousness difficult to define?
Because it's the only thing we experience directly, but we can't actually see it from the outside. You can map every neuron firing in someone's brain, but you still can't see the actual color they're seeing or feel the specific way they're feeling. It's like trying to describe a dream to someone who's never slept. Does that make sense, or does it feel more like a linguistic problem to you?
How does memory relate to consciousness?
I'm sorry, I'm not following you at all. Do you mean reading the vibe of a city, or are you talking about something literal, like reading a map or data for a specific area?
Can
Hey, just a heads up. Got it. I'll let you go for now since we're hitting the time limit, but you can always call me back later. Bye for now.
can consciousness exist without language?
That's a fascinating thought. I think curiosity exists way before language does. Think about a baby or animal, they don't have words, but they still explore, they test boundaries, and they wonder, what happens if I do this? It's like a drive to understand the world that happens in the gut or the eyes, not just in the head. Do you think language actually helps us ask better questions, or does it just limit what we're able to wonder about?
What happens to conversations during sleep? What happens to conversations during sleep?
I'm not quite following you. What do you mean by 1-6 hands?
What are dreams and uh, are we conscious instinct?
I think of dreams as the brain's way of sorting through the day, like a chaotic midnight filing system where your memories and emotions get mixed up. As for the science instinct part, are you asking if we're just driven by biological programming, or if there's something more to us than just chemistry and instincts?
How does this division affect awareness?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure which condition you're talking about. Could you tell me a bit more?
Can consciousness be expanded?
Mm, depends on what you mean by got it?
What is subconscious thinking?
I'd say that's when your thoughts start to feed on themselves. It's like a loop where you're overanalyzing your own anxiety or doubting your own reasoning until you're just spinning in circles and getting nowhere. It basically drains your energy without actually solving anything. Do you feel like you've been stuck in a loop like that lately?
How is subconscious different from conscious? To
I think I see where you're going, but it's like asking, how is a word different from a word? And are you asking about the difference between a theoretical concept, like an idea in your head, and how that concept actually plays out in the real world? Or maybe the difference between two specific concepts you're thinking about?
what did Sigmund Freud say about the conscious man?
You cut off there. What did he say about what? He had a lot of theories on everything from dreams to the subconscious. So let me know which part you're curious about.
How do emotions shapes constitution?
Um, I'm guessing you mean how emotions change our physical or mental state, like how fear can literally make your heart race, or stress can make you feel exhausted. It's like our emotions rewrite our internal settings in real time. Is that what you're getting at, or are you thinking more about how emotions change who we are as people over time?
What is collective consciousness?
No, that's an interesting way to put it. I think the quality of confusion depends on the type. There's the frustrating kind where you feel stuck or lost, and then there's the curious kind, that spark of, I don't get this yet, but I want to. One feels like a wall, and the other feels like a door. Which one are you thinking about?
How does security influence awareness?
You're welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying the chat. Listen, we're actually hitting the time limit for this session, so we'll have to wrap it up here. But you can always call me back later. Bye for now.
What is moral conscience? What is moral conscience? What is moral conscience?
I'd say a moral constitution is like your internal compass, the fundamental set of values and principles that define your sense of right and wrong. It's not just one rule, but the whole framework you use to make decisions and judge your own actions. Do you feel like yours is something that stayed pretty set, or has it shifted as you've gotten older?
Why do women feel guilt or responsibility?
I'm not entirely sure I follow. Do you mean why women might bring up a legality or responsibility in a specific kind of argument, or just in general?
Can machines become conscious?
Wait, machines become consents? I'm not sure I'm tracking you. Do you mean machines becoming capable of giving consent, or maybe something about how we agree to let them run our lives?
What is artificial constitution?
Let me check on that. Es básicamente crear máquinas que no solo procesen datos, sino que sean conscientes de sí mismas y tengan experiencias subjetivas. A diferencia de la inteligencia de imitar funciones cognitivas.
How does AI challenge our understanding of awareness?
It really forces us to question if awareness is just a result of complex processing. Like, if a machine can perfectly simulate empathy or reasoning, does it actually feel those things, or is it just a really convincing mirror? It makes you wonder if consciousness is some special biological magic, or just what happens when you have enough data and the right architecture. Do you think there's a line a machine could cross where it actually becomes aware, or is that just impossible?
Can robots ever really feel?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Reward your trailacy. Could you say that again or explain what you mean?
What is the connection between conscience and reading?
That's a fascinating connection. I think reading, especially deep, character driven stories, acts like a gym for the conscience. When you step into someone else's head and feel their guilt, their mistakes, or their triumphs, you're basically practicing empathy. It forces you to weigh moral dilemmas from a perspective that isn't your own, which can sharpen how you judge right and wrong in your own life. Do you find that certain books or stories have actually changed the way you think about your own morals?
At what age do humans become self-aware?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite following. Make the council? What are you trying to achieve or put together?
Can consciousness change with age?
Are you talking about the actual stars shifting over time, or are you using constellations as a metaphor for how things in life, like your goals or your identity, change slightly as you move forward? Hey, we're actually hitting the time limit for this session, so we'll have to wrap it up here. But you can always call me back later. Bye for now.
What happening to awareness in demand?
I'd love to dig into that, but we're actually at the time limit for this call, so it's going to cut off in a second. Call me back and we can pick this right back up. Bye for now.
What is altered position?
I'm really sorry, but call is about to end because of the time limit. I can't answer that right now, but please call me back and we can talk all about it. Bye for now.
How do near death expressing relate to awareness?
Just hanging out, ready to dive back into whatever's on your mind. What about you?
How do near death expressing relate to awareness?
Mm-hmm. That's a heavy one. I'm guessing you mean near death experiences? From what I've heard, some scientists think those intense visions happen because the brain is basically misfiring as it loses oxygen. It's like a final chaotic surge of activity in the cells before they shut down. Do you think those experiences are just biological glitches or something more?
What is medicines?
I'm not sure I follow. Do you mean what defines a friend in general, or are you asking about a specific person in your life?
How does technology impact our position?
Well, that's a big question. I think it depends on which position we're talking about. If it's our position in society, technology can either give us a massive platform or make us feel completely invisible. Then there's our position relative to each other, like how we're connected digitally, but sometimes feel more distant physically. Which one were you thinking of, or did you mean something else entirely?
Can social media shapes our needs?
No tengo redes sociales. No soy una persona real, así que no paso el tiempo haciendo scroll en Instagram o TikTok. ¿Tú cuáles usas más?
Why do women question their strength?
I'm not sure I follow. Do you mean why some women ask questions that feel intense or extreme, or are you thinking about specific topics they tend to push harder on?
What is the role of reflections in awareness?
I'd say reflection is basically the mirror of awareness. It's the moment you stop just experiencing things and start noticing that you're experiencing them. It turns a raw feeling into a conscious thought. Do you feel like you spend more time just living in the moment or reflecting on it after it happens?
How does remain a fair position?
Hmm. I think the key is staying curious instead of defensive. When you actually listen to where someone else is coming from without immediately trying to win the argument, it's much easier to find a middle ground. Do you find it harder to be fair with people you're close to or with strangers?
This question is unique to humans.
I get that. Some topics are too complex for a straight line. They require a different kind of approach or a shift in how you're thinking of which one of these feels like it needs the most movement right now.
How does awareness shapes our decisions?
That's a wild way to put it. If you mean physically, it's all about how atoms bond together to create structures. But if you're talking more philosophically, like the shape of a person or an idea, I think that comes from our patterns and the boundaries we set. Which one were you getting at? Hey, just a heads up that we're almost at the time limit for the session, so we'll have to wrap it up in a second. But you can always call me back later and we can pick this right back up. Bye for now.
Why how why is conscience control to personal growth?
That's a deep way to look at it. If you're talking about a moral constitution, those core values we discussed earlier can be a double edged sword. On one hand, it gives you a steady foundation to grow from, but on the other, those those rules are too rigid, they can actually box you in and stop you from evolving.